And what's the latest on your mic?
My mic is still not happening. Yeah. But I'm
Yeah,
ordering another one. Yeah.
just order another one. I think
Yeah.
it's probably the safest way to go.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we want to get the good sound quality.
I know.
Get
I
the good
know.
sound quality. Welcome to GCP Life. This is episode number 2 of a brand new podcast about Google Cloud and tech. Today's sponsor is Kasna. At Kasna, we make Google Cloud solutions possible. I am your host, Stephen Bancroft, and on today's show, we have a Google Next update, jobs, and more jobs, Google in trouble with an antitrust, Python gets a speed boost, a little quantum computing update, and what? A Kubernetes movie? But before we get to any of that, I want to introduce the co-host with the mostest, Ira Bailey. How you going, Ira?
I'm doing great, thanks.
How's your week been, mate?
Pretty hectic. Yeah. Just lots of big release coming up, so everyone's frantic.
Awesome. I've been Terraform applying and G clouding for the last 2 weeks, just over and over and over. You know, when you get in that loop and just goes round and round and round and round, and finally it deploys and its hands in the air.
Yeah, cool.
And of course, Melbourne pretty much had 2 days off this week, so I'm kind of ahead of the game on them there. I'm in Sydney, so those slackers had 2 days off. Oh, by the way, did you hear that KDE's turned 25 years old?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
It's probably been about that many years since I used it. So.
I only mentioned it because I do use KDE as my daily driver.
Yeah.
And one of the fantastic things I really love is the keep above others option. Look, I'll show this to you, Ira. See what you can do is you can go here and you can go more actions, keep above others, right?
Yeah.
And then when I click on this screen, it still stays there.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? So when you're working on multiple windows and you're clicking around and stuff, your terminal still stays there, and you don't have to go finding it all the time. I love that feature. Absolutely love that. And when I go onto Windows and try and do the same thing, it's just not the same. Even though you can see here my desktop, I'm sharing my desktop with Ira. It kind of looks like Windows 10. That's the way I've done it, because I actually don't mind the look of Windows 10, but the functionality is completely different. And that keep above others, oh boy, I miss that when I go onto Windows desktop.
You're trying to Mac and it's like, where is my screen going? Like it's off to the right somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that freaks me out. You press the wrong button and it just disappears. What the heck is going on here? I just feel like a noob. It's like you give me an iPhone and I've got no idea what's going on. I'm an Android boy through and through. Anyway, I just thought I'd gush about KDE being 25 years old, because I've been using it for a long time. I used GNOME a little bit there for a little while, but I don't allow any of those filthy GNOME apps on my desktop anymore. Only KDE.
Even in the year of the Linux desktop?
Even in the year of the Linux desktop, that's right. Oh, one other little milestone we want to mention is Mantle Group reached 500 people. We've now got 500 people in within Mantle, within our house of brands. So, it's the numbers as arbitrary as any other number, but 500's pretty good place to be.
A lot of people.
It's a lot of people. Well, I did used to work for Telstra, and they've got about 40,000 people, so 500's not bad.
It's a lot of great people, yeah.
500 awesome people. Yeah, that's exactly. Anyway, let's get cracking. Let's get on with it. And Ira, I think you wanted to talk about a little Google Next update and the cybersecurity action team. What's that all about?
Yeah, so part of, I guess, the new security offering that Google has kind of decided to pivot to is actually having a team of people who actually kind of take a look at what you're doing and what you're doing in Google Cloud and as a business, and go, these are the things that you could do, like at a strategy level, where you can't really get that unless you go to a specialist consulting firm or whatever. But it's a pretty interesting approach. I don't know don't think Azure does anything like this, and I don't think AWS really do anything like this. But I think I think there are some, partnerships and things where they point you in the right direction, but I don't think Google, a cloud provider directly has a team that will work with you, not just for what stuff is on your, running on the cloud platform, but like how you need to do security and digital transformation for your company. So it's pretty broad. Yeah.
Yeah, security touches a lot of things. So this is a team that will come in and look at your app, look at your build, make recommendations.
Yeah.
Kind of
There's a
thing.
whole
Yeah.
kind of suite of things. Or how do you say you want to meet some security like SOC requirements or PCI DSS? Look at supply chain for software supply chain analysis, and yeah, just kind of this is kind of how you do it and provide best practice. So I think it's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I guess cool for smaller orgs that smaller businesses that may not have the skill set or may not be resourced to access someone like Kasna, or they don't want to shell out for the big bucks. I guess Google's this is a service that Google's charging for. I guess.
Yeah. I haven't looked at the
Yeah.
pricing, but be interesting to know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be. Yeah. Yeah. Um, Still, I mean, it's a good idea. I mean, it's a good idea from as a company. Like, if you were a company deploying something in cloud, you really, really need to make sure you've got your security, dotted and crossed everywhere. I mean, how many public buckets, how many stories of public buckets have we heard about,
Yeah.
being compromised? That's the number one thing, right? But you really, it'd be worthwhile investment, for any organisation to either have someone like Kasna or the security action team to come and look at their app and their deployment for sure.
Yeah, there wasn't much else from Google Next, unfortunately. There have actually been some interesting like feature releases that haven't really been covered, I guess, in Google Next. They kind of popped out a little bit before that. Something we've been using a lot is the kind of new update to Cloud Asset Inventory, which has got a whole console and you can search the whole platform and query it and create a whole bunch of alerts and a whole bunch of really cool features, which have really kind of been a bit missing. It's been pretty cool.
To be perfectly honest, I haven't gone through all the content, but other than what we mentioned on the last show, which I think was the remote edge Anthos thing, there's not a lot there that's grabbed me, really. Which is, I don't know, disappointing, or maybe good, because it's just it's not another thing I have to go and learn, which is all right. But sometimes there's a lot of stuff that comes out of these.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, let's move on. What's the story with this antitrust case? Google takes up 42% from ads, state says in antitrust case.
Yeah, so interesting federal case being taken against not just Google, but
So your tech giants, yeah.
yeah, just basically what do you call it? Collusion between the large tech players in the ad space to basically favor each other. Like the deal was that Facebook would back Google's proposal to kind of this thing called I think it's got open exchange or open ad exchange. Facebook and Google have basically colluded to support a fluid standard, and in exchange for Facebook supporting Google's stance, they will basically privilege all of Facebook's ads on their platform.
Right. So it's an advertising cartel, effectively.
And because Google's got 82%, I guess, of the internet ad revenue in the entire world, they're basically a major monopoly. And so they're quite happy in their position, and they want to kind of not really open up that space. So they could get slapped with a massive multi-billion-dollar fine, and they did get slammed with one for, I think, 4 or 5 billion in the EU, and that, It's quite a big fine.
That's a big chunky fine. So it's anti-competitive, antitrust kind of behaviour?
Yeah, it's kind of
Or is it more like your wire fraud kind of thing?
well, it's kind of tricky because they did kind of advertise that it's like an open exchange where you can bid on ads. Apart from they know everyone's bid, and they will bid like 1 cent higher than everyone else if they want the ad. So it's
Yeah,
not like
right.
it's not like it's a fair. Everyone puts in their closed bids, and then the highest bid wins. It's like Google looks at everyone's bid, and then can basically put 1 cent more and
Yeah,
and
right.
win the bid. So
And win the bid, yeah,
yeah,
because it's so massive. Yeah, it says in this article, Google now uses its immense market power to extract a very high tax of 22 to 42% of the ad dollars otherwise flowing to countless online publishers and content producers such as online newspapers, cooking websites, and blogs who survive by selling advertisements on their websites and apps. Yeah. So the lawsuit filed by a group of Texas is one of 4 government antitrust complaints against Google. So it's sued to Google. So, well, we're just here to report the news, and if this is the news that's going down, we we need to report it. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one. It's like any of these tech lawsuits, though. I mean, will it amount to anything? We don't know. Will they settle out of court? Probably, and there'll be some backdoor deal that's made, and it just disappears.
yeah.
Seems to be the case.
It's quite technical, and I'm pretty sure this will be going on for quite a while.
Yeah. Anyway, for the listeners, the link's in the show note. You can check it out yourself. Yeah. So, all right. So we'll move on from the anti-competitive news. We'll talk about some jobs we've got going, or a particular job that we have going in Mantle Group at the moment. I thought I'd look at a non-technical role, because we do have non-technical roles. We're not all cloud gurus. We've got some great people. So this is for a client success lead. Once again, link in the show notes. We have a brand new role working closely with our CEO and CTO to shape and drive our business business's development plan for new and existing relationships with our enterprise focus. Day to day, you'll help define new customer and accounts and approach and identify the correct stakeholders to engage with these accounts, establish growth, strengths, relationship with key holders and influencers in existing accounts, develop new enterprise accounts, work with the rest of Kasna team, probably Ira and me, possibly, I don't know, to establish opportunities to create business values for prospects based on our Google technology offerings, help develop the right commercial frameworks, help to ensure we deliver our business value proposition and continue to develop a long-standing relationship with our clients. So that's the kind of gig. What would it's really a businessy kind of role. Skilled at developing strong relationships with technical and business leaders, experience with transformational sales, strong oral and written, of course, usual kind of stuff. But I mean, if that sounds like it's for you, then you should get in touch with us. It's probably it's probably a pretty high flying role, I'd say, if you're working directly with the CEO and the CTO. They're great guys, by the way. We'll get them on the show one day. But that could be for you. I guess if you came, what sort of background would you think are, I guess, sort of upper management kind of roles?
Yeah, particularly someone who's been in the kind of product owner kind of role as well, kind of manage a
Product
team,
owners,
delivering stuff,
yeah.
so they know what someone else who wants to deliver needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may have come through sales. You could be someone that's come through sales and you're like a sale exec that's got sort of product experience maybe. Because we don't discriminate. We look at everyone on their merits, and we've got quite a few career changes in Kasna, people that have come from different backgrounds, and you've got plenty of opportunity to skill up, and if you show passion and motivation and you want to do the role, then you'll be highly considered for any role. All right, Ira. Let's move on. Let's. What is IRAB/Devops Lab? You put this in the show notes,
Yes.
and I didn't quite get it when you first explained it. Tell everyone what it is.
Cool. So this is just a repository which just shows kind of an opinionated way of how to deploy um, any app to Cloud Run, and also Kubernetes, and basically the pipeline that you'd use to deliver secure kind of tested code. So it uses Cloud Build to build your app, run some tests, do a whole bunch of security tests on that to check dependencies and to check even the way you've written your code, whether it's got any particular code smells that are terrible. Then it can either deploy it to Cloud Run, and then basically run a load test on that, where you can kind of pick, if you want to hit it with a million requests, it will just go off and do that. And also you can target Kubernetes and do a similar thing, and you can get all the stats out from like latencies, requests per second, based on whatever deployment configurations you've got. So I've been kind of developing this just to show so like trainees or anyone else who's kind of new to DevOps of like what are the kind of basic steps you kind of do. This is pretty basic really compared to deploying something in a bank, which is next level.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, mate, this looks very comprehensive, though. Despite it being, what you're saying there, with it being simplistic. But so let me get this right for my sort of muggle brain. So what you're doing is if you're creating a container to run in Cloud Run, this repo will run tests on it, look for security problems, do all the ins and outs to make sure it's good to go in Cloud Run. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So
nice.
Yeah, there's about 70 million different ways you can kind of deploy on Cloud Run, because all it is just a container. But it's the pipeline that gets run to basically build that container and test it. So yeah.
I see. Right. This is the pipeline. Right. This is a pipeline.
So it's more about the pipeline than what you're actually deploying. So just an example.
I reckon I could use this on something I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, grab that. That's in the show. Links in the show notes. Ira's GitHub repo there with that juiciness in there. It's written in Go, which is something I'm yet to get in and learn myself. But Go's great. Have a look at that, guys, and have some fun. Give us some feedback on that as well. All right, moving on from Go to Python, I just wanted to give this a quick mention because this is interesting. I'll just read through this article. This short article talking about Python and the GIL in Python and its multi-threading capabilities. Like, it's one of the big things we don't like about Python. It's more or less single-threaded. Being an interpreter, but it says one of Python's long-standing weaknesses is inability to scale well in multi-threaded environments. Is the target of a new proposal among core developers, and what they're saying, if accepted, Gross's proposal. Gross is the guy that's developed. Sam Gross has developed this. Would rewrite the way Python serializes access to objects in the runtime from multiple threads. It would boost multi-thread performance significantly. Significantly. So I don't know if you've ever tried to write a game in a Pygame. It's a framework you can write games with Python. When I started learning Python, I used it a bit. This would help if you were writing games with it. The GIL has long been seen as an obstacle to better multi-threading performance in C Python, and thus Python generally, because C Python's what everything's based on. Many efforts have been made to remove it over the years, but at the cost of hurting single-threaded performance. In other words, by making the vast majority of existing Python applications slower. Right. Python's current metaphors for dealing with threading and multiprocessing don't make it possible to achieve high parallelism, but they make it hard enough that developers often turn to third-party modules like Dask to get the job done. The new proposal makes changes to the way reference counting works for Python objects so that references from the thread that owns an object are handled differently from those coming from other threads. So I guess that's the guts of what's going inside. But the important part is that the overall effect of this change and the number of others with it actually boosts single-threaded performance slightly by around 10%, according to some benchmarks preferred on a forked version. So you can get this now. It's a forked version of the interpreter versus the mainline C Python 3.9. Multi-threading performance on some benchmarks scales almost linearly with each new thread in the best case, e.g. when using 20 threads, an 18.1 times speed up on a benchmark and a 19.8 speed up on another. So there you go. We could see this filter down. Now this will be interesting because at the moment, if you're running Cloud Functions,
Python single thread.
Python single threaded. Yeah, we could see multi-threaded apps go into Cloud Functions with Python.
Sounds like it's a 4.0 release target for Python then. I imagine it's changed quite a bit, right?
Yeah, a lot could change in a major release like that. But I'm looking forward to this one and getting away from it's for an interpreter language to be multi-threaded like that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see that. I can imagine there'd be a bit of a switch from Go back to Python, would be my hunch, particularly for data side of things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Data and AI, where you're doing a lot of heavy processing.
Oh yeah, that would
could make a difference. Yeah.
Different. Yeah. I'd be surprised if people were already using it now to make the ML pipelines go faster.
Yeah, well, we'd need a different runtime in cloud. In Cloud Functions. Yeah, Google have to support the runtime. So, come on, Google, let's get the runtime for this.
Alpha.
And we can. Yeah. All right. So, one other quick one I wanted to mention. We talked about quantum computing last week, and I love quantum computing. When there's so many quantum computing stories around lately, they come up on my phone all the time. I just wanted to quickly mention this one. China's built world's fastest quantum computer, 10 million times faster than Google's. 10 million. Yes, you read that correctly. 10 million. China's leapfrogging capabilities in terms of technology development are well documented. Now, scientists from China claim to have developed the world's fastest programmable quantum computer. Created by researchers from the University of Science and Technology. Named after, so it's named after a mathematician. That's really all I've got. That's really all I've got on this article. But man, 10 million times faster? Are you serious? I'm going to try and find a little bit more on this one, but that's some serious numbers right there.
Yeah, it's kind of right pace of, I guess, improvement. It's going to be pretty interesting. So if they,
are we going to see? Yeah, I know. Are we going to see? I mean, how does Moore's law relate to quantum computing?
I think it's reset.
It's reset, isn't it? We're going to have to come up with a new name.
Yeah,
something law.
I think it probably should start when someone actually does something useful with it. Otherwise, we could be.
Yeah, well, I think we're on the verge. I really think we're on the cusp of doing some useful stuff with this. Like we reported on the last show, we're going to have plug-in quantum devices soon.
Yeah, and they probably might just get used to marketing though.
Yeah. Oh, you're such a pessimist. Don't be such a. I like.
Yeah, I didn't say it was a bad thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, this next item. Now, I can't believe this next item, and we're gonna just play this next item for you here. Take a listen.
Do I look at you? Look at camera. 2013, it was clear that cloud was a thing, but most folks were focused on infrastructure cloud.
The dirty secret for a long time is people who are either building their own data centers or using colos. There's a huge resource waste.
And so at that point, automation tools are all the rave. People are now trying to abstract away the servers.
Google was looking for ways to apply its internal infrastructure expertise to the cloud.
As we started looking at technologies like Docker, we were impressed by the strength of what they'd accomplished in solving a very specific problem.
This is going to happen with us or without us.
Google had to make a bold move in the cloud space to be the long-term winner.
Every big startup I felt like had a container orchestration project, and half of them were announced at DockerCon 2014.
Open source is most successful when it's played as a positive-sum game.
So it's a Kubernetes documentary. What's going on here with this?
Yeah, it seems like someone's decided to delve into the origins of Kubernetes and where it all came from, which I think is pretty interesting because you've got the whole Google Borg kind of history and where that came from. So there's how it became into this kind of big open platform that seems to have, one is the cloud platform that's kind of agnostic, well, even on-prem, right? That's just kind of, if you want to have a managed service, you check it on Kubernetes.
Kubernetes, yeah. Who would be interested in this other than tech geeks like us, really?
I think anyone who's kind of interested in how the sausage gets made.
Yeah, I suppose. There seems to be there's a lot of documentaries around like that lately, isn't there? Like how this is done, how that's done.
Yeah. I think having some kind of insight into, it's not just one company or one person going from doing something. It's like a whole bunch of different companies all coming together to try and get their thing that they want out of this project. And it's all that interesting tension in politics. And, when you've got people like Microsoft and Google and Facebook all trying to pile in.
And do we know who's funded it? Honeypot or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right. I bet you it's like an alphabet group or something. It'd be interesting. Okay. Anyway, I mean, the link will be in the show notes. You can go and investigate that yourself, but keep your eyes on that. We'll certainly let you know when the final cut of that is available. I'll be watching it for sure. All right. Well, look, guys, I think that's just about it for today's show. Don't forget that we have the Kasna Beyond Two Clouds YouTube channel where you can catch our CTO and CEO in a sort of, occasionally getting together to tell you the latest on Kasna and Google Cloud. And we finally have a contact for the show, so you can reach out to us. Oh, I can't believe I just said reach out. Anyway, you can email us on that. Remember email? People used to use email at gcplife@kasna.com.au. And we have a Twitter as well, which is at gcplife. So you can tweet us, you can email us, you can do all of that stuff. And we will have a website by the next episode. Yes, I'm saying it. We're going to have a website by the next episode. And that's about it for us this week. And of course, today's episode was brought to you by Kasna. At Kasna, we make your Google Cloud solutions possible. You got anything else to add, Ira?
No, I do not.
No more else to add. We'll see you in a fortnight. Bye.
Cheers.
Of course, today's episode was brought to you by Kasna. At Kasna, we make your Google... I'm not a professional, by the way.
Well, you're getting there. You just need to practice, which is what you're doing.